it's WDHA's Reconnect with Rockers. I am reconnecting with, like, I want to call you, like, he's the beast of the guitar. And I mean that in the greatest possible way. It's John Petrucci. You know him from Dream Theater, guitar master, producer, lyricist, member of G3. What am I forgetting? The Guitar Universe, the Liquid Tension Experience. He's one of the absolute greats, the legendary. So thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Oh, thanks so much. And I do look like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. I do have
Well,
I
it's so
definitely have the
funny
vibe.
though, but people mean it in a different way because I'm like, guess who I'm talking to?
Yeah.
John Petrucci. And everybody's like, he's such a beast. Like,
Oh,
you
that's
are
awesome.
just a master. I speak
That's awesome.
to, we probably have like close to 300 people now from 2020 to now on this feature. And I've spoken to everyone, but there are architects of sound, architects of craft that I've had on the feature.
Yeah.
Whether it's Satriani or Steve Vai, I spoke to recently, Mark Tremonti, Nita Strauss, Brad Gillis from Night Ranger, whose
Yeah.
guitar sound I've always loved. So having an architect of sound is very different, and you are one of those guys. So I want to talk to you about when you were a kid. First time you picked up a guitar, you felt what?
Well, I felt frustration, I think would be the biggest word. The first time I picked up a guitar, I could not play it. I was young. I believe I was about 8 or 9, something like that. And I had a nylon string plastic guitar, and I tried to take lessons, and it was so hard to even just press down a note. And I actually stopped. I was like, I can't do this. But it wasn't until a few years later when I was 12 where I just was like, I don't know. I kept dreaming about playing guitar. I was just driven towards guitar music that was being played on the radio growing up in New York. And I just picked one up and it clicked. And then there was that creative connection, because I was always a creative kind of kid. I was
Yeah,
always
yeah.
drawing and painting and writing and stuff like that. So when I finally discovered my, what do you want to call it, vessel of
Yeah,
creativity,
your calling of
yeah,
creativity, the
yeah,
day that
being a
you had your
guitar,
epiphany. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
exactly. I was like, I like, now it wasn't it, don't get me wrong, it was still frustrating in the beginning. I could remember clear as day not being able to play a bar chord, but eventually, that learning curve kind of, you get through it, and then you're like, well, I can actually do this pretty
Oh,
well.
that's
And
so
then
inspiring to so many
yeah,
kids right now who
yeah,
are listening or watching this, that you had that feeling, that feeling too, because there's something so special about guitar.
yeah,
And we
I
talked a
agree.
little bit before we got rolling, like it's the Mellencamp song. Forget about all about that macho shit and learn how to play guitar. It's
Right.
just in everyone's head. And during COVID, people kind of said, you know what? I'm going to pick up an acoustic guitar. I have extra time now.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
true.
on the move all the time, So all of these guitar sales went up exponentially. You saw Guitar Center and all these places, 15% in 1 year, which doesn't happen in any industry. You're happy if you
Right.
get 3% growth, 2% growth is a big year. So 15% in 1 year is insane. So what is it about the guitar that we have such a romance with? And you can't say that about a lot of things these days.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a few things. One of them is it's highly portable. You could literally take it anywhere.
Simplistic.
It's an instrument that lends itself to writing music on. I would, it's a multi-voice instrument. You have an idea in your head, and you play it. You have the chords, and you have the whole structure of a song right there. Much like a piano, but you can't bring a piano everywhere. And if you play, violin or saxophone or whatever, they're wonderful instruments, and you could write certain kind of pieces on that, but you can't, to me, guitar is like the ultimate compositional creative instrument,
Yeah, sure. Sure.
and then to take that a step further, when you talk about rock guitar, to me, that's the most expressive instrument on the planet, because the greats that you mentioned off air, like Satriani and stuff, I mean, the way that people can just make this thing, move you in such a way and manipulate it, is just like, there's no other instrument to me that does that. So that's
Yeah.
part of it as well. And it's in rock music, it is the driving feature that sort of determines the style of the band. The
And it's such a
guitar,
visual
yeah,
instrument. When you
it
said,
is.
I used to write and I used to draw and I can see that in your music.
Yeah.
You know, I can see that
Cool.
in Dream Theater music and in solo music, where everything is with your playing so visual. And when I watch the videos, you
Cool.
know, solo videos, I really see that whole visualization, you know, and I can see where that comes from. So people are going to get the opportunity to see you because you're going out on a solo tour. It's very
Yeah.
exciting. Count Basie and Red Bank, two of my favorite places. That is one of my favorite Jersey places. It's got such a rich history and it's such a beautiful, warm sounding, incredible
It
room.
is.
And Town Hall in New York City. Count Basie on October 12th, Town Hall, New York City, October 13th. Town Hall is just like, holy moly, that place is just incredible.
I love that place. I
Oh, I
love it.
walk in there and I just like, I puff up. I'm just like, oh my God. I just remember so many amazing artists that I've seen there. And you're reuniting with your boy, with Portnoy. You and Mike are getting back together. You're putting the family kind of
That's
back
right.
together, haven't played together, you know, in many years, but it goes beyond that. Because when I saw this, so Mean Streak is opening.
Yeah.
So now, for those that may not know, I know that, you know, Petrucci maniacs are listening and watching this, so they all know, but I'm just going to let our WDHA listeners know that may not know. So your wife, Raina, and Mike's wife, Marlene, were in the band back in the day. So let me give the band the props that they deserve. They were a freaking metal band, like a thrash, all female metal band at a time where there were no thrash female metal. There's still no thrash female metal bands.
Right, exactly.
Very few, you know. Yeah. So they were really groundbreakers. And the interesting thing is the Dream Theater guys meet these lovely ladies in the thrash metal band, and everybody kind of converges. So you marry Raina, and Marlene marries Mike, and then Lisa marries someone, right? You know,
Lisa, Lisa married John. So
right.
Three of us married three of them. We all went to each other's weddings. We all had kids at the same time. It's like a crazy story.
All right. So how do you guys, who comes up with the idea that, you know what, we're going out and the ladies are reuniting after all of these years and coming out with us? Who comes up with that?
Well, I told Raina because she had been talking about a Mean Streak reunion, and I wanted to do a solo tour, you know, forever, but I just, with Dream Theater's schedule, just trying to find the pocket where you could actually plan, book something, and do a tour. I never really was able to do that. So I told her, listen, you know, now that I have 2 solo albums out, I have enough material to fill a headlining show. And if I ever do a solo tour, I'd love for Mean Streak to open. So she was like, great. And I got this opportunity and asked her, and she said, absolutely. So that it's so cool. It's, you know, I'm so excited to be playing on stage again with Mike.
Yeah, right.
We haven't played, the last time we played together on stage was 12 years ago. Yep. And that's exciting and that's special to me. But in some ways, I'm more excited about seeing Mean Streak again.
That's
like,
fantastic.
I mean, when we all dated.
Did they all say like, yeah, I'm ready to do this. Let's go. Like how did, because sometimes the idea is amazing. Yeah. You know, it's like the, you know, the visionary and the executioner. Sometimes you can be the visionary of something great, but the execution of it doesn't always come to fruition. So how did you kind of get everything to sort of line up?
Well, that's really the credit of my wife. You know, she's been playing professionally all these years.
She's a slammer. I mean, there's no doubt about that. She's freaking amazing. Being in your house must be unbelievable for anybody who loves guitar, because that's always like the coolest house.
There's guitar coming from every corner of our house. We actually did a couple things together recently. She was a guest instructor at my Guitar Universe camp, and I had received a European Guitar Award in Holland, and she came and she stepped on stage. We did Jessica by the Allman Brothers together. So, you know, she's been doing this all this time. A couple of the other women have been out of the scene for a while. They haven't been actively gigging. So it's something that they had to, you know, get back in action and start rehearsing. And there's a lot. So, you know, she's excited. They're all excited. I think it's going to be, first of all, it's going to be an exciting night of music because they're a great band. They're a metal band. They're going to bring the power.
That's so cool.
You know, and then my thing is instrumental guitar trio, and having Mike and Dave LaRue as my band. I mean, that's just like all it's just so much fun.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
can't even
Yeah.
explain the feeling of being on stage with those guys. It's just a
Yeah.
blast. So it's
Yeah,
going to
you
be a
guys are
fun
going to
night.
kill it. Amazing, just amazing. I'm such a sucker for a great power trio, you know.
Cool. Me
Mike, we
too.
know very well because Mike had come into WDHA lots of times. He's such a great guest and he's come in with Winery Dogs to play and stuff. So he's a
Nice.
great friend of the station. So it's so awesome to see you guys back doing this. And I saw it on his page with Mean Streak and I was just like, whoa, on his Facebook page, on his social media. And I'm like, this is incredible. Well, let's talk a little bit too. You mentioned John Petrucci's Guitar Universe, the guitar camp. I always watch videos of how you interact with people
Mhm.
when you guys are doing this Q&A and people like feel like it's so amazing to be around such greatness and all these great guitar players on stage. You seem so comfortable always talking to people. You're such a genuine, just really real guy. And, you know, are you as comfortable when people are hitting you up with every guitar question and you don't know these people? People get a little personal sometimes with things, but you just seem so engaged, I should
Yeah,
say. And it's not always like that when you see people, and you usually are like the orator of the Q&A things,
sure.
you know, so you're kind of the host, the master of ceremonies. And you just seem like that's really in your element. And sometimes I don't always see that with musicians because musicians like to take a step back and be in their own kind of element as opposed to out front and
Right.
center. So what's that like for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, thanks for saying that. Everybody has their own comfort zone. For me, it comes naturally. I feel very comfortable in that situation. You know, to me, those events, they're all about the guitar community. It's all about sharing. And there's so many people at different levels. You know, you have like young kids who are just starting. You have adults who are picking it back up again, and then you have guys that play incredibly and you know just want the experience and to meet all these guys. So you realize that we're all together because we love playing guitar. And one of the greatest things for me growing up was I would go to guitar clinics and I'd go to see Steve Morris or Al Di
You
Meola or
would,
whatever,
yeah.
and I would raise my hand and ask a question. And it was nothing like the guitar camps that they have now, but just to get a little bit of feedback from somebody who you respect and to hear their story, it was so inspiring for me. It was like life changing. So I
Yeah.
kind of realized the weight of that when I'm in those situations. So yeah, I feel really comfortable in sharing and trying to kind of impart my experiences. And you know, you never know who you're talking to. You know, the next future great
And how
player or band
important
or
it's
whatever.
going to be for that person.
Right, right.
What that experience is going to be, that life-changing experience is going to be for that person. You know,
Yeah,
we don't realize sometimes that you always have that one chance to make that impression. And sometimes it's life-changing for someone,
yeah.
completely life-changing.
And I love that. And I love that about the camp. You get that feedback not only right away. You know, some of the campers are young, so their parents are there and they'll come up to you and they'll say, "Oh, this was such an unbelievable experience for my son or daughter." Or you'll get feedback from people that attended, and that's an amazing feeling because you walk away like you just spent this week together, and not only did they have a great time, but I had a great time. All the guest instructors. I mean, these my camps. I try to just get like the best players out
Oh
there and
yeah. Oh yeah.
make it like guitar. It's called the Guitar Universe, but
Universe. Yeah.
it's like a guitar university. It's just like the most insane players that know how to teach and have fun.
Yeah. And it kind of comes full circle for you because there are times in life where you get the stress of things, a dream theater tour, a dream theater record. Now I'm going out on tour. Now I'm doing this. Now I've got this, you know, and sometimes it takes you back to the reason that you got into it.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely,
it
absolutely
really, it
does.
hits the reset button, a little bit.
Yep.
So yeah, you said two solo albums, enough to sort of fill a whole nice venue show. Um, Anything else that we can expect, you know, out on the road with you on these dates?
Yeah, well, you know, here's the thing. I've done obviously we talked about my camps. I played my solo music at those camps. I've done many G3 tours with Joe
Yes.
and played my solo music, but this is my first actual headlining solo tour. So to me, I kind of am making it all about my music. Like this is the music I'm going to be playing is from these two records. I realize that so many different approaches, you know, you can have. You can have guest artists, you can have people coming in, you can do covers and do this and that. And I'm like, you know what? I've never done a solo tour headlining. I'm going to make this about my music.
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
that's what people can expect. And you know, the interesting thing too is that playing as a trio is a different sound than the way the records were recorded, because I'll go in the studio and put rhythm guitars and overdub and have harmonies and parts, but can't do that live because I'm only one guy. So you get these sort of fun versions that are like the live trio version, and there's always so much more fire and attitude to it. And then, some of my music lends itself to kind of extending sections and having somebody kind of spread their wings, having Dave take over a part, or
Yeah,
Mike, whatever.
right. Having
So
Mike take over. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
people can
Yeah.
expect some of that too. So it'll be some improv and stuff. But yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be my material
Nice.
though.
Nice. Terminal Velocity came out during lockdown, so you didn't have a chance to go out and sort of
No.
showcase everything. So this is really the chance where people are getting out, and I think the timing is just perfect because you've got these amazing venues where people can go now and be comfortable,
Yeah.
feel comfortable watching live music, and take Raina out with you and get a really cool opening band. And the cool thing too is, now is a great time for women in music also. So I
Right.
know they're going to be really well received, because at the time it wasn't that there weren't any women out there, but women were knocking on the door and nobody would freaking let them in.
Yeah,
And it
that's so
sucked.
true.
It
That
really
does suck.
sucked. And things are starting to change. It's a slower process now. Things are starting to change, but I'm super, super excited that you're taking them out on the road. I have a show called The Queens of Noise at WDHA, and I do it not to put women in a 1 hour box, but to show that you can still be on a viable, successful rock station and play an hour of female music.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great. Like, there are so many women out there that play love rock and metal and play guitar and shred. And it's a funny thing, like, even after all these years, there is more presence by women. But even at my camps, I see like the attendance is mostly guys. And I'm like, always like, why is that? Like, I know they're all out there doing the same thing just as great. So, I think that Raina kind of carries that torch, and that's why I loved having her at my camp and having them open. So yeah, I think it'll be inspiring for young women as well to see them.
Yeah, I love
It's
it.
pretty cool. It's
I love it.
exciting.
Girls, come out to the camp. Come on. You
Yes,
want to learn from the best, come out to the camp.
come out to the camp.
You also do a lot of things. I mean, you've got your whiskey.
Yes, I
Rock
do.
the Barrel 2. Rock the Barrel 1 was so successful. Rock the
Yeah.
Barrel 2 came out. So what is it like for you to kind of expand the brand a little bit and kind of just dip your hands and feet and tongue into things that you love?
And beard. I dip my beard in my beard oil.
A big beard.
I have a signature beard oil as well.
Oh, amazing.
I'm
Amazing.
this great men's grooming company out of the UK. As far as those things, what I love about it is that you find this commonality in different industries with people who take what they do and the craft of what they do so seriously, and the artisanship, that goes into creating a great whiskey, a great bourbon, and the people, the master distillers, and Tommy Brunette, who runs Iron Smoke, who's a guitar player and a musician.
Now, is that local for you there in New York? Is that a local distillery?
Well, it's not local as far as where I live, but it's local. It's local as far as I live in New York and the distillery's in New York. But as you know, New York's a big state.
Yep.
They are up in the Rochester area in a town called Fairport. Yeah. But they're just like wonderful people. They're so creative. They're so into what they do. They want to be the best at what they do. I think about the way my guitars are built and designed by Ernie Ball Music Man, and the people there in San Luis Obispo in California, just how serious and into it and into the artistry they are. And they remind me exactly of the guys that are at the distillery, creating the bourbon, how they figured out how this amazing way to like cold smoke the wheat before it goes into the mash, and like everything is like farm to bottle, local New York, farmers and stuff. Like I just relate to that so much. And same with the people who in the UK with this beard oil company, Captain Fawcett, just really super creative people. They're in the industry, in the movie industry and music, and you just find this common thread. And so those relationships happen organically. And that's the best thing, because then if you put your name on something, you can be so confident that like, I love this.
Yeah,
authenticity.
You're an authentic. People watch you play. You're one of the most authentic guitar players around today, so that authenticity carries you through the other things that you have interest in. Absolutely. I can
It
totally
does.
feel that. Yeah.
It does. And it's important, if you put your name on it, that it kind of goes hand in hand with, if people see your name, oh, I know this is going to be interesting, or this is going to be
Right.
good. Like, it's not
Right.
going to be, I'm not going to take this stuff lightly.
Right.
And
Right.
so I love that. And these types of things happen to me. That's the best way that they can happen. It's not like I'm thinking to myself, where can I go out and do this and make some more money here? And oh, what if I got a clothing endorsement? I just don't think that way. But these things, they do come to you, and they happen organically, and it's the best type of situation. It really is.
John Petrucci, somebody told me I would love you. And I do. I had such a
Oh,
great
thank
time
you.
chatting with you.
Thank
Next
you so
time,
much.
you know what you and me are doing? We're doing the Rush Symposium.
Right,
We're going
right.
to chat about all the times we were in high school. We hung out by the Doors with the Rush geeks, and
Yeah.
listened to Hemispheres and all of our favorite Rush records.
My Rush is my favorite band on the planet.
Mine too.
We talked about the trio that I'm playing in, and that's great example of the best trio out there. So
The absolute
very
greatest.
inspiring, and one of my favorite albums that you're wearing there. So
Yep,
for sure.
2112, baby.
That's
For the
it.
female Rush fans, people say, "Oh, there are no female Rush fans." There's not a ton of us, but being in rock radio, there's some of us. We're
Right.
we're a little underrated in our loyalty to the trio. So yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right.
We are definitely out there. Look, everybody, get out, please, and see this amazing tour, Terminal Velocity. We cannot wait to see you perform live. And we've got the 2 dates coming up: the Basie, October 12th, Town Hall, New York City on October 13th. And get there early and make sure that you get in for Mean Streak, because I think it's going to be just a brilliant, brilliant night of music. And John, thank you so much. It's been a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. Great talking to you.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Harris Lock Company, your full-service locksmith, and Dover Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on Route 46 in Rockaway.